So, Ellie, I'm so glad you're in today because we talked before about the importance of this governor's race in Virginia, and now it's looming, right? It's Tuesday, and there's a lot at stake. Terry McAuliffe, Democrat, versus Ken Cuccinelli, Republican. But Cuccinelli's not just a Republican. I mean, he's the extreme right of the party,
Very extreme right. Oh, my goodness.
What are some of the issues?
Every issue, almost. Well, it's like on abortion, he wants a total ban, even for rape and incest. He's the one that railroaded through the trap law, which is going to, if it goes into effect next year, would close most of the clinics in the state. He's also
passed through the legislature?
Yeah, passed through the legislature, but the Board of Health had voted for existing clinics to be grandfathered in. Because these rules are just ridiculous. You have to have essentially a surgery center. And anyway,
This is similar to what they did in Texas, I guess, too,
but
right?
This is the catch, is that Cuccinelli, when they voted for it to be grandfathered in, he said that he wouldn't defend them. They might be sued. And he essentially bullied them into reversing their vote single-handedly. But he's also for the personhood amendment, which would outlaw most forms of birth control. He's
not just abortion, but birth control, contraception.
Birth control.
Yeah,
this is the guy also on violence against women. There's nothing on the women's rights side that would be safe with him. On the Violence Against Women Act, only 3 attorney generals in the whole country would not sign a bipartisan letter urging its reauthorization. He, of course, would not sign it. He's not for equal pay, for equal work. He's another one of those that won't say anything on it. He's on gun control. My goodness, no gun control. Essentially, immigration. He's led the fight. He wants no benefits at all in any way for a non-documented worker. In fact, he would like to change the 14th Amendment so that if you're born in the United States, you're not automatically a citizen. He wants you to have parents who are citizens. Anyway, it goes on. He's very extreme.
Very extreme. And yet, the poll at the beginning, there have been 2 polls this week, I guess what I was saying. And it's a little disturbing because the one poll, the Washington Post poll, said Terry McAuliffe, that was the headline, McAuliffe has a 12-point lead in Virginia.
Right.
But in the last couple of days, we've seen another poll come out that's a lot closer.
Right. One just came out that's 6 points. I really feel that people do not know how extreme this is, and the race doesn't get enough attention. Remember, it's 2013. It's Northern Virginia, where a lot of the votes are. You essentially have national television. There's not a feature on just it. So it's worrisome. But what's even worse, in my opinion, is there's 3 races, and one of them for the Attorney General.
So you have Governor, Lieutenant Governor, right, and Attorney General.
Attorney General.
Yeah.
The Attorney General is just as extreme. There's 2 Marks in it. Mark Herring is the Democrat. He's for gun control. He's for women's rights. Very vigorous on reducing violence against women. He's for gay marriage. Essentially, he's a progressive, but he's earned his stripes. He's in the Senate, etc. His opponent, extreme, just as extreme as Cuccinelli.
A Cuccinelli kind
in every way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's openly opposed, for example, for any kind of affirmative action for women or minority-owned businesses. These folks are all against equal pay regulations, are enforcing employment discrimination.
And what's his name, the Republican?
His name is also Mark. It's Obenshine. But it's Mark Herring that's the important one. But then you have a lieutenant governor's race. That is, I don't know how this guy got on the ballot. His name is, the Republican is Bishop Jackson, Bishop R.W. Jackson.
E.W. Jackson.
E.W. Okay,
because some people say you, Jackson. Oh. Yeah, right. You. Yeah.
I mean, he is so extreme on every issue. The one that just draws me over the bend is his issue that is just incredible, is that he is worried that yoga has a satanic nature.
Yoga?
Yoga.
How many millions of Americans are involved in yoga?
Because somehow you creates a vacuum in your abdomen or midsection that the devil can enter.
That the devil rushes in?
Yeah. But like on the Attorney General guy, he's very extreme on, and what was his? Oh, he actually introduced a law in the Senate, didn't pass, that if you have a miscarriage, the woman has to report it to the police within 24 hours.
Right.
And there was such a hue and cry, he withdraws it. But that he even thinks like that.
Yeah, and what was the reason why you have to report it to the police?
Well, you got to find out if that was a miscarriage or an abortion. That's how anti-abortion he is. What are we going to do? Criminalize every miscarriage?
Aside from the wrongness of that as an idea, like as a conservative, I mean, I can't imagine conservatives would buy into that.
Well, conservatives always give the lip service to, we don't want big government. We don't want big government.
Right.
Until it becomes a woman's body or the bedroom, right?
That's right.
Then they want government standing alongside of every bed.
Right. And talk about an invasion of privacy. It's just ridiculous. And when you think that 40%, it's about 40% of pregnancies end up in a miscarriage. It's a huge percentage. It's not a little thing. I mean, the whole thing is just so outrageous. Woman has enough to worry about if she's had a miscarriage. She's supposed to report it in 24 hours, and then what are they going to do?
Now, here's the thing. This election, it is being held in Virginia, and it is important. We have 2 Democratic senators in Virginia. We got a Democratic governor. But it has...
No, you have a Republican governor now.
I'm sorry. If we get a Democratic governor, then Virginia, I guess you can call it a blue state. But my point is, this has ramifications.
Absolutely.
Nationwide, doesn't it? What happens here? Because if Cuccinelli were to win, that would be a green light to governors around the country.
It's a red light. I mean, it's a green light to any kind of ridiculous legislation you can think of against women. You can discuss, or more than that, you can pass. But it would be a turn to the right-wing extremism. But also, do you remember what happened in 2010? 2010, it was the 2009 Virginia elections that started to sweep to the Republicans. That's one where McDonald wins. In my opinion, he wins by pretending to be a moderate. Mm-hmm. I mean, all these folks, they project a more moderate image during the election than where they are.